What? Hey, meow. Huh.
This is episode number 403 of WPwatercooler, a new WordPress repo compiling the community.
Meow. Hey.
Oh, hi. That's showing up too. Oh, great.
Oh, it's also episode 402.
It's episode
Whoops.
403 and 403.
Hey, and they're yep. Cool. I have editing to do. This is fun. All right.
Well, who's Jason?
So what movie are we watching?
Brought to you by ServerPress and WP Site Sync. Go to WPSiteSync.com to learn more.
Hey.
I'm Jason Tucker. I'm the one that makes these graphics, and you can find me at Jason Tucker on Twitter.
He'll be busy.
I'm Steve Zehngut. I'm the founder of Zeek Interactive, and I run the OC WordPress meetup.
Wow. I'm Sayreed at Sayreed Media on all the things, but apparently just Twitter.
And it's your boy Jason Cosper, aka Fat Mullenweg, back in the building on the most influential WordPress podcast.
Ever.
Speaking of podcasts, go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify to leave us a review. We'd appreciate it.
No matter what platform you're on, go to all of them.
And you can buy an awesome t-shirt.
Look at
Go over
that!
to WPwatercooler.com/store to buy an awesome t-shirt. We'd really
Well,
appreciate
that's
that.
All proceeds go to charity, not our pockets.
This is true.
That's true, actually. Well, that was a fun intro. I forgot.
Dude, this is what happens when, things happen. Things happen.
I just want to apologize in advance for my cat. He's old. There's nothing I can do.
We have guests.
We have guests.
We do have guests. I just wanted to get that out of the way.
Cate, Topher, could you introduce yourselves real quick? Tell us what you got going on, and yeah.
Well, don't tell us everything because that's the whole show. So don't condense it.
So I'm Cate.
Hi,
I'm
Cate.
Married to Topher for forever. As long as the arc has been So I do a lot of volunteering in the community, WordPress community. I help out with Big Orange Hearts WordFest. I'm the marketing lead over there. And I occasionally write things and edit things and do content stuff. And now I'm currently working on the HeroPress network. And all of it. We have a Cate.
Do you have a jingle yet? Because I can help.
No,
I think that was it.
That was it right there.
No, that one's copyrighted.
I think we need one. So, so yeah.
That was a Trojan man.
Indeed it was.
I didn't remember what it was until I said it. So sorry, apologize.
Hey, we're all about
Big
safety,
echo.
at HeroPress.
Topher.
Yes, I am Topher.
Hi, Topher.
Hi.
Hi.
By day, I work for a development agency called Camber Creative, and also work on the HeroPress network with Cate. And that's pretty much it right there.
Awesome.
I
Very,
have
very cool.
an important question.
Yes.
Is it a bones day or a no bones day? Sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Just move on. Ignore that. It's a no bones day. I looked it up. Move on. Keep going. Just don't even go there. Steve doesn't even know what
I know
I'm
what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but Steve doesn't because he doesn't read the internet anymore.
I don't read.
Yeah.
But Steve barely reads our group chat.
It's TikTok. You just watch the videos and just swipe up.
Reading is done in window seats, and Steve doesn't have any.
All right. So the reason that we wanted to have you fine folk on here today is not just because you're awesome and involved in the community and have been part of the community, each of you, for a long time, but you've also launched, kind of a couple new ventures, but one big new venture with little ventures underneath it.
Yes.
Ventures.
That is exactly
a parent
it.
venture with child ventures.
You now have an umbrella and some little drops or something. I'm not sure if that analogy works, but the point here is, tell us about HeroPress Network.
So
All right. Go for it, Cate.
Yeah, thanks. The HeroPress Network is the hub for everything that we're doing with HeroPress. since HeroPress was created, we've always wanted to do more with it, but had to wait till our family and our life and work and everything was kind of at the right spot, which was about a year ago.
Are you still just speaking of family? Are you still traveling around?
No, we haven't started traveling. So we're in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We have girls who are 20 and almost 22 very shortly. So in 5 weeks, we are actually moving out of our house so the girls can rent it and moving into my parents' vacation house for the winter. And if we don't kill each other over the next 4 months or so, we will then try living in an RV around the country.
Nice. That's
awesome.
Quite a disclaimer at the beginning.
I mean, I realized that we're moving north to a cabin in the woods during like a snowy winter season, and that's about how half of all horror movies start.
This is like the plot of Misery.
Right, exactly.
I was going to say The Shining.
Yeah, either
Yep. I mean,
pick one.
There's a number of them that you can come up
As long as you blog during it. And, so it's like more like, the diary, like the house on something where it's like every day and you're like, I saw.
And we'll look for hidden messages within the blog if you need help.
But we do have a blog. It's called it's at cateandtopher.life, but it's the misadventures of Cate and Topher's life, and so it's so HeroPress. We've always wanted to do more with HeroPress. And then we started looking about a year ago about how to do more. And ended up kind of accidentally acquiring Hallway Chats when Tara and Liam wanted to step away.
I acquired something.
I know. It's a little bit like finding you're pregnant, It's like, oh, look, we have a podcast now.
I prefer to call it adopting.
That seems to be happening a lot in the WordPress community. Everyone's like, oops, we acquired something again.
Yeah, exactly.
Oops, our bad, we acquired it.
So then it was, do we try to stuff these two things into one entity? Do we try to keep them separate and manage them? We're like, what do we do with this? You have one thing you can kind of expand, two things, it gets kind of weird. And so we're like, you know what? Let's just make a whole bunch more stuff. So
Why not?
hard. Then
Why not?
It's like, I think that's the same philosophy people use with children. They're like, well, I have one.
Yeah, once you've got one, why not have 12?
Might as well have 6.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
So what we did.
Try it. You'll see.
A lot.
If nothing else, you have to move from car to van. It's a must.
Kids are exponential. They're not. It's not.
Right.
It's not. Yeah.
But the analogous part to upgrading to a minivan is upgrading your hosting. So multi-site or just like a lot of installs. Like, what's your hosting station? That's what I want to know. And does it have good torque? I don't even know what that word is.
Cup holders.
It's like it's hosted at
I got it.
At any particular web host.
Understood the reference. We got it. Moving on.
All right.
So
Anyway.
instead of stuffing everything into HeroPress, because we didn't want to disrupt what HeroPress is either. Like we really value its, just what it means to the community.
So just for those folks who may not have surfaced HeroPress yet, HeroPress is essentially profiles of people within the community.
Yep, inspirational essays, basically about how people have built the life they want to have or they need to live using WordPress. WordPress is the platform.
How come we don't call that letters to Matt? That's what you call.
In a lot of cases, these posts are written in the native languages of where people are from. So you've got this whole international community, just like WordPress is an international community, and you actually have people writing in their own language and talking and telling about their experiences, which is wonderful because a lot of the content around WordPress tends to be very Anglo and English centric.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I was actually advised that the way we're doing, it's not a multilingual site. We're just doing posts with 2 different languages in them. And I've been told that the way we're doing that is possibly hurting our SEO. But
because it's not indexing the articles in all one language.
Yeah.
So there's only one Italian, then you don't have a good SEO.
Yeah. Google gets confused and all that. But to a certain extent, I don't care.
That sounds like a Google problem.
That's the best approach.
Google needs to catch up with us.
The vast majority of traffic that comes to HeroPress is from word of mouth or the WordPress dashboard. and people show up and go, "Oh, look, my language. I didn't know that. That's cool." So
are you using?
how we do
I'm
it.
sorry that I don't know the answer to this, but are you using? Do you have a translate plugin that would
We
allow
do
you,
not.
for example?
No,
Oh,
I
well,
looked
there's a
into
couple
it.
good ones. I'm installing one on a client site right now. So if
Yeah,
you want,
well, we
Yeah.
if you want my research, you can have it.
Oh, thanks. We are always interested in research.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked into it, and my biggest struggle is, well, to pay humans to do it would be outrageously expensive. So I looked into Weglot. They were very, very generous. But the issue is many of the languages that we want are Asian, and none of the machine language translation tools are great at Asian
Oh, wow.
languages. They do fine with Western, like Spanish and German and French and all that kind of stuff. Almost to the point where it seems maybe real, like a person did it. But as soon as you start doing Hindi or Gujarati or Tamil or anything, then they're like, no, don't do that. That'd be embarrassing. Please don't do that to our language. There's one young man in India who I asked him to do an essay, and I asked if he would do it in his native language, and he said, I'd love to, but my language hasn't been codified on computers yet.
Oh,
Wow.
So he's going to use the
Yeah.
language of his neighbors down the road, which he also speaks, as his second language or
Wow.
first language. Yeah.
And these are the kind of things that we want to open up to everybody. We want
Yeah.
everybody to be able to realize what the bigger WordPress community looks like. What's really going on kind of at a grassroots level.
I think that makes so much sense. I tweeted about this for the show, but there is so much stuff.
Mm-hmm.
WordPress, the community. And not even just like if you're talking about plugins or themes, sorting through all of that and finding the new ones and staying up to date is its own like world. But then you've got this other side, which is more of like the soft side,
Mm-hmm.
the softer side of WordPress, which is all the podcasts, all the newsletters, all the folks on Twitter, and beyond the annual much maligned and rightly so list of top 100 influencers you should follow on WordPress, which we will not be doing.
Good.
No one will be doing ever again. Those just become an echo chamber anyway of like the same people. So I think that especially with the the pause on WordCamps, they're really, how do you figure out, like, how do you even find that stuff? And I think that is part of a problem, because if we can't see it, then we don't know that it's part of the community, and our focus is narrower, and we're being influenced by our own funnel instead of opening it up to all these, really understanding all these different languages, and how WordPress is doing. There's so much stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How could somebody find something about WordPress?
Yeah.
Wow.
So weird.
So we did launch. We did launch this week. Find It WP, and that
Tell us
is
about it. We've been waiting.
It is a massive project. I guess it was far more, like, I almost cried after we launched it. I'm like, wait a minute, I have to maintain this now. But it's community submitted resources, whether you own it or not, that are being used in the WordPress space in a highly searchable database. So
are you using WP Facet WP?
We are
Totally
using
are.
both.
Yes.
Yep, Search WP and Facet WP. We brought them together. It's going to be a bit in process as we figure out categories, because we're letting that dynamically happen too, so that I didn't have to try to think of all of them for everyone everywhere. And it's up to the community to submit the items. I'm not going to be going through and submitting all of the items for everybody everywhere. I need to sleep at some point in the next 1,000 years. But it's a database for the community, and you can get equitable visibility with anybody else in the community that's doing what you're doing.
Equitable visibility.
Mm-hmm.
I have not heard that term before, and I like it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a marketing buzzword kind of word, but it's also really
it sounds
it's really
useful.
important to us because
I mean, even synergy has a value as a word. Like, I know it's overused, but synergy, you know.
So with equitable visibility, you know, it's not that everybody's getting the same thing. Everybody's getting what they need to get to the same place, you know. So everybody gets a ladder, but it's a different height.
How do you wait? So I thought you meant just more like you're just popping everybody up there, and 10 up is next to
that is
kind of a more
primarily
bespoke.
what I mean. Yeah.
So, but in this case, are you doing something to the algorithm, the search results, or something like that, which will surface?
We're not going to do that. So it is definitely just an even platform. So
just one ladder for everybody.
So right, well, kind of, but everybody can get to the same stage. So I guess maybe that's a better analogy. Is regardless of your path there, everybody's standing on the same stage, and you don't have to have a huge marketing budget. You don't have to be good at marketing. You don't have to do anything besides list yourself. And then I'm going to provide some resources at some point to help people write better abouts, to write better product descriptions, some nuances to communicating inside to the WordPress community that can be really useful when you're marketing what your plugin. Go ahead.
That's something that's actually been exciting for me. Is what we're learning that we can pass on simply by making these things. We released WP Podcasts recently, and I have imported 80 podcasts and seen the difference in what each podcast has inside it, like whether they have categories or images or tags or all this stuff. And I know a ton right now about podcasts and about how they're different from each other technologically and all that. And I'm really looking forward to doing some posts about how you can make your podcast more visible on listings and stuff like that. And we're gaining that same kind of information about resources with Find a WP.
Feel free to use Watercooler as just your test one.
I was going to say, I don't think WPwatercooler would need it, but it could be an example of what to do as opposed to
hashtag most influential podcast.
Right.
But if you want to
in Las Vegas
use our listing and be like, here's an example, let me just spark it up a little, polish it up, and then use that as your example, I think we're on board.
Because definitely we would pick WP Watercooler over hallway chats. Like that would be a good move for us to make.
I will tell you, I think there's 70 podcasts on there now. Out of 70, maybe 2, I couldn't find anything where I said, "Oh man, I wish they had done this."
So let me ask you a question. You've started all these things. You've accidentally acquired another business.
Yeah.
Is there a business model behind any of this stuff, or are you just doing it out of the kindness of your own heart?
Damn you, Steve! Always making money all.
Jeez, Mr. Wonderful. Okay, Mr. Wonderful.
I'm sorry, I'm the one with the business hat on this podcast.
This is an important question to me.
No, it is an important question. We want, because if you, just like with all the free plugins, right? If you're
don't ruin the punchline yet. I want to hear. Sorry. I want to hear.
Right.
So one of the things that I really want to show, because community is my big thing. Like I am the softest, squishiest of soft business skills kind of person. I want to show how community and business can work together to make each other stronger, and make better, like by working with the community, you can have a stronger, better long-term business. So we're looking at what we're building as kind of like a library in a community where somebody needs to be managing this and the community works to fund that person on an unbiased basis.
Kind of like a task-specific Patreon.
Yes. So we're going to open up something like a Patreon.
I like it.
But we also, so one of the reasons we built like Fund at WP and we built WP Podcasts and we've got...
it really sounded like you said Fund at WP. Is that
oh, crap.
No, that's something I can get behind.
And then we've got 3 other things actually in the works as well, plus the one Topher wants to talk about, which is a 4th. Like it's kind of crazy, but that gives something for businesses to put advertising on to get behind. We can do some typical business advertising in a subtle, community-friendly kind of way that doesn't impact HeroPress itself. So HeroPress may never have ads on it. We might do something special with ads on that, but we can keep kind of the different aspects of it sort of divided, but also create a net of coverage. It really, when you boil it all down, it all comes to visibility for everybody. Visibility for businesses, community members, new veterans.
But essentially,
you're building, right? But you're building all these great resources that the community needs that are of value, right? And there is going to be a gap between now and when you start to make money. How can we support you?
Patreon.
As a community.
Start a Patreon.
Yeah, and that's
so much better than Patreon.
Okay, start the thing that's better than Patreon.
Can I tell us?
Tell us.
He's
all right.
We heard
So,
it.
I'm throwing you softballs here.
Yeah. So we want to support WordPress and we want to do it the WordPress way. So we're going to use GiveWP, but GiveWP doesn't do the Patreon thing. It's more of a one-time fundraiser kind of thing with a thermometer and a deadline and all that.
Thermometer and a deadline. That's all you need.
That's all you need.
Go ahead.
So I wrote some code to make it do Patreon, and the other day I had
it's an extension for Give.
Yeah. Well, it's not an extension yet. So far, eventually. So far, it's Topher's Hacks. But I had a nice meeting the other day with Matt, and we're talking about rolling it into Give Core.
Whoa!
Wow, cool.
Great.
I love it when necessity breeds new things that I get to use.
Exactly. So hopefully, our plan is to open it up on Sunday.
Sunday? That's soon.
Yeah. It is.
It is soon.
It's early.
And it's not ready. So,
so we know what
I've got
Topher's
some work
doing this
to do.
weekend.
But it sounds like your business model is
Will.
And I hate to quote Facebook here, but it is run fast and break things, right? I mean, it's kind of you're putting a lot of stuff out there, seeing what works, right? And whatever works, you're kind of moving with, but you're putting a lot of really great stuff out there really fast.
Just for the record, though, Facebook's new model is run fast and buy things.
Yeah, okay. They're original.
And break everything.
The original one, yeah.
So will this be in the metaverse? That's the question here.
Yeah, exactly. I
think it's soon to be. I think it's soon to be called F-book, isn't it, or something along those lines?
Yeah.
That seems appropriate
So,
on many levels.
A few minutes ago, we were talking about new things in the community and how you find them. And I want to spill the beans about one of the things that's coming up because I think it's really fun.
I want to answer Steve's question first.
Okay, answer Steve's question. Go for it.
So it is definitely kind of throw things against the wall and see what sticks. Fortunately, the things that we've created so far have stuck pretty well. Like everybody seems to love WP podcasts. Find a WP is getting traction really fast. That's going to be a harder one to grow because we really have to have community input to make that one work. The other things are all similar, and I think we've kept the things that we're building similar enough to each other to know that, like, if WP Podcasts is successful or is well received, the other things will be too, because they're similar but with different content. So we've spent a lot of time planning it, and so it seems like we're putting them out fast, but at the same time it's been a year in development, and it just like everything kind of comes out at the same time because it's all built kind of on the same platform.
You have that whole and this can be both a pro and a con. You have that whole married partner thing happening where you lose all sense of boundaries and you basically work on your fun projects 24/7 because why wouldn't you? Because that's what you're into right now, right?
As a matter of fact.
Yes. Or you get very angry and wonder why you're still married and think that,
And then you decide to move to a cabin because you like challenges.
Where
That's on wheels.
May survive.
That's on wheels. That's going to drive around the United States.
A lot of what we're doing now came out of our anniversary vacation in June. It was in June.
Because we're very exciting people, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that what Find at WP especially, I mean, the whole HeroPress network is obviously a bigger thing, but specifically, I think Find at WP is something that the ecosystem really needed because the repository theme repository and the plugin repository, they're useful to a certain extent. Their searches are, what they are. But at least there's some rudimentary tools for plugins and themes. When you start getting into the community, there is not a way to know that unless you know someone on Twitter who tweets lists about stuff or you follow the right thread. So there, and like I was saying earlier, with the pause on WordCamps, you can't even find, people that you can. I mean, you can if you do the virtual thing, but let's be real, you're not interacting with people the same way and, being like, oh, tell me about the latest stuff. So you're really filling this void of, connecting the goods with the people. And I guess that makes you kind of like the middleman, but we needed that. Like we didn't have a middleman, and we needed one because all this great stuff is just getting lost in the ether.
Yeah. So our group chat that I occasionally reference that happens between the hosts of WPwatercooler, you guys were spitballing. Yeah. Yeah. Steve doesn't really hang out in it very much. That's okay. Right. So they were talking this morning, Say and Tucker, trying to figure out a title for the show. And they figured it out basically before I could chime in because I had something going on. And I really I thought about this, and I actually figured it'd be a better metaphor for the show. So I'm just going to drop it on you.
He's retitling the show in the show.
During the show. This is the first.
Talk about the metaverse. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What are we now?
I feel like what the HeroPress network is doing is basically like the WordPress community is an iceberg. And you basically see the little bit that's above the water, but there's so much below the surface.
So what's the word? Iceberg?
Nobody sees. No, so you're mapping the iceberg. You're mapping the iceberg.
Mapping the iceberg. Okay. Is that like a common term that I missed somewhere?
I don't think so. I just invented it.
Mapping the iceberg. Like
I think it was in the movie Titanic.
They definitely they plumbed the depths of the iceberg.
But I mean that you're
surfacing. Not melting the iceberg, right? Don't do that.
No,
that's not what we want.
No.
Sorry. Okay. Just checking.
But this HeroPress network and on all the initiatives are surfacing so many things that people, there we go. They're surfacing so many things.
If you're listening on podcast, Jason has officially renamed the episode.
I'm really glad that that's what you can see, because that was our goal. Like we could create something else. We could create something that makes money, like a product or a service. But why would we do that?
It's overrated.
It's overrated.
And we have some plans down the road for some training ideas and some different things we can do. But there are so many amazing things out there now that people can just need a little help finding. I keep thinking of it as like building bridges between islands.
Those RVs require gas.
Exactly. I cannot exchange chickens at the grocery store for other.
I'm waiting for Steve to ask. But this is so proprietary, right? This is a proprietary thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I know your value proposition. Your value proposition is you need this stuff and we're going to show it to you. That's your value proposition.
I feel like we've only got like 2 minutes left, and I feel like Topher.
Yeah, Topher has been waiting to say something.
Yeah, Topher, go for it.
I have. Yeah.
You have patiently.
So
the floor.
We were talking about surfacing parts of the HeroPress community that aren't as often seen. So one of the next things we're going to do, my daughter Sophia and I are going to do a new podcast called WP Geography. And imagine you're going to WordCamp in Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay.
And you have questions like...
This is paid, right? It's paid.
What's
paid
by HeroPress?
Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
Yeah. You have questions like, what's the weather like? What kind of clothes should I pack? What's the food like? What's the food going to be like at a conference? And what's the food going to be like in the street? What languages am I going to hear? Will I be all right only knowing English or only knowing any of my own language? All those kinds of things. And we're going to interview 2 or 3 people at a time from random location X and say, what is life like where you are? What is, you're a WordPresser in city X.
Is this going to be based around where WordCamps are happening, or is this just throw a start at a board?
Yeah, probably meetups. We could probably do it with WordCamps, once they start coming back, but I want to do it more often than that.
I mean, basically your tour of, so when I was in a band a while ago, I went on a tour of open mics. And I feel like your tour is going to be a tour of meetups. Are you just going to go like on a meetup tour around the US?
Yeah.
Because I'd read that.
Oh, well, globally. Yeah, globally.
Okay, well, you can't get everyone in your RV, FYI.
Yeah.
I just want you to know.
No, but they
You're
give
gonna
us
have
some.
to plan for that.
I don't know if you've heard of computers, but there's this way.
Wait, no, I meant you like literally gonna, not just in WP geography, but you're gonna actually go there in the car, in the van to all the different places.
This podcast will not be that.
So yes, we're going to do that. The podcast is not that. We are going to go to as many like meetups and meet WordPress people in person as possible.
Yes.
And possibly even hold like pop-up meetups wherever we're happening to be. There's
cool.
a lot of people out there.
Meetup. You're like a mobile meetup.
Yeah.
In the HeroPress mobile.
Yeah, I love it. And you're going to be broadcasting live from WP Geography. And that's actually pretty great because if you do that for like, you can spare people writing those blogs, all of the teams, like all the WordCamp people who have to write what to find and eat. You can like just use this WP Geography blog instead.
That could work.
That about does it. That about does it.
I have more snarky comments to make.
That's all right. That's all right.
Look at the time.
Oh man.
Hey, I want to say thank you very much for the both of you for being on the show with us today. We really appreciate it. We're going to have links to all the different things that you can go take a look at within that HeroPress network, and we will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Speaking of which, be a hero and leave us a review on any of the places that you listen to podcasts. Go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and YouTube. Talk to you all later. You have a good one.
See what Jason
I know
did
I'm
there?
annoying everybody. The original too. Come on.